Hello everyone, March W13 here with another hotel review, and this week we are in Sicily, in the city of Catania, in a very special hotel called the Asmundo di Gisira, which is a very old building constructed as a palace in 1693, and now it's essentially a modern art museum mixed with a hotel. They call it an art market living boutique, with the idea being that they have all sorts of artwork, not only in the hotel rooms, but in all of the common spaces of the hotel. Many of them are for sale, and it's sort of an immersive experience of a museum integrated with a hotel. And this particular room is called the Usetta, I believe, which, if I'm not mistaken, follows the story of a warrior, a Sicilian warrior, who fell in love with the daughter of an emperor. I believe it was Emperor Federico, and vanquished some Moorish twins, and was ultimately imprisoned because of his relationship with the daughter of the emperor. But because of that relationship, ultimately he was freed, and I think became a knight. So the motif associated with this room is one of medieval warfare, warriors, armor, weapons, that sort of thing, with many of the vestiges of the 17th century origins of the building intact. So let's check it out. So one of the most notable things about this room right off the bat is the extremely high ceilings, which extend throughout. The bed is basically a queen, but it is, although they do a very good job of concealing it, it really is just two twin beds pushed together, but again, done in a way that's very seamless. As with all the other Italian beds, hard as a rock, but somehow, pliable, and I think would be good for one's back. But very high quality linens, and the headboard is certainly a principal attraction. It is made to represent armor of the warrior Usetta, and as you can see, we have some original, presumably 18th or 19th century borders along the doorway to the balcony, which we'll see in a few moments. On this little work area here, there's a metal chair. Doesn't look extremely comfortable. In this little ashtray looking thing, we have what is intended to represent the severed heads of the paladins, which were a group that had been defeated by the Moors prior to the involvement of the great warrior Usetta. Speaking of which, we have a statue here of a warrior, and a number of books. It looks like there's a photography book and a couple dealing with history and stories, all in Italian. There is what looks to be about a 42-inch LCD television, and this foot here is actually quite plush. You can sit down on it, which I'm going to do right now, And it's sort of like a beanbag chair, except not quite as soft. But this chair it's described as a 1969 masterpiece of Gaetano Pesce, a sculpture ahead of its times that was actually shown at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Los Angeles. And we have another sort of modern chair here. And part of the myth of Uzeda is that to vanquish these Moorish twins, he had to cross a moat and make his way through alligator-infested waters. And I believe that this crocodile, it's actually a crocodile, not an alligator, is made of it's a ceramic alligator, and you have these lights here that are intended to illuminate it. Just a lot of space in this room, an incredible amount of space. Fairly good climate control here. There are remotes in this drawer for the television and for the to control the air conditioning. Now, just off the main entryway here to the left is what I read is intended to represent the prison in which the warrior Uzeda found himself after he'd vanquished the Moorish twins, and the emperor discovered that he'd had a relationship with the emperor's daughter. And there is a basin here which may or may not be intended to represent some sort of helmet of the warrior. I believe all of the bath products are local. This is some body lotion. It's called Ambra Nera. And there's a shower cap and sewing kit, and you've got towels. To my knowledge, the only trash can in the entire room is this tiny little one here, so that could be an issue, but honestly, not much to fault in this room. There are, for practical purposes, looks like a couple of USB outlets just behind this lit vanity mirror. This is one of those button press toilets, just one button, and some sort of bidet. Now, as I was remarking earlier, the ceilings are extremely high, and so as you can imagine, to place a rain-style shower head here, you would have to place it really high up, and that's precisely what they've done. So let's walk in this shower here, and these tiles, I believe, are original from the 18th century or 19th century, which is absolutely incredible, and you can see the wear on these 19th century antique tiles. But with respect to the mechanics of the shower, there's a handheld nozzle here, and then the rain-style shower heads in the ceiling. So let's say we engage one of those heads. Let's see here. So this is a setting where water is essentially just dumped out of a chute. I'm going to turn this off, and now let's make it rain. And as we exit Uzetta's prison, we are met with what is essentially a closet. Again, really high ceilings, obscured by this black curtain here, but you have rack space, only 5 hangers here, slippers, and a mini bar with some local items and some wine and bottled water and soft drinks, as well as a coffee maker with several different sort of trendily named flavors. This one is called Funk, and let's see if we can find another one called Swing. So each flavor of coffee represents a different kind of music, and my understanding is that when you find the desired flavor, you can scan this barcode and it will begin playing the corresponding themed music associated with that flavor. So just another element of this living art boutique experience. Now, we haven't yet addressed the fact that there are these 2 large windows, and we're in a corner here, so they cover 2 different walls. We're about 1 hour from sundown here. So this, I believe, is Via Garibaldi. And this is the street on which there was a lively vegetable and fish market just a couple of hours ago, and the entire city has since taken a siesta for the afternoon, and so most of the shops and restaurants are closed at this hour. Now, other things of note: on each side of the bed, there's one of these sort of understated little short circular tables, and behind those are a European-style 2-prong outlet, and there is what appears to be a USB outlet as well, sandwiched between the controls for the lights on either side of the headboard, as well as the a single switch that controls all the other lights in the room. And there's also a wall safe, but it's not completely clear to me how that is supposed to operate. And it's a very, very, very small safe. Let's see if I can open it. There's a key here, but there's also a keypad. And you open it, and there's some batteries back there, but it's just big enough to probably put a few smaller valuables. Certainly not enough to to house a laptop or an iPad or something like that. So I suppose that's all. I would say in conclusion that this is one of the hottest hotels in Catania, maybe the hottest right now. And it's just so unique, this concept of staying in an art boutique with invaluable works of art that have been exhibited in museums around the world. And this blend of old and new, and the location just make this an unforgettable experience. And I'll have to show in a separate video some of the common spaces within the hotel that are also, of course, covered with art, as well as the rooftop terrace, which provides views of Mount Etna and parts of the historic city center that the hotel occupies. So that's all for this hotel review, and I hope you'll join me for the next one. Until then, happy travels. Goodbye, everyone.